Explained. If you are here for the first time, please consider subscribing to this channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about Rironi Nakuru Mau Summit corridor, a road which is being constructed and a road that is poised to address the traffic jams that have characterized this road for years. Traffic on the Rironi Nakuru Mau Summit corridor remains a daily test of patience. For decades, this stretch of the road has been one of the most economically important and most congested highway. In November 2025, the government declared a turning point, launching what is described as a transformative upgrade of the road into a modern dual carriageway under the PPP or public-private partnership model. Since then, official statements have repeatedly assured the public that construction is underway and that relief is on the horizon. Here, we examine whether these assurances match reality. It looks at what is actually happening on the ground today, revisits how the project reached the contracting stage, questions the absence of publicly available contract information, and explains why three major contractors emerged in the process. It also outlines what the project consists of, the benefits that it will deliver, and why the project was chosen as a PPP model, and why it's being praised by some and opposed by others. The focus throughout is simple: separating verifiable fact from political messaging. On paper, the project is moving. The Ministry of Transport and Kenya National Highway Authority have confirmed that construction activity is taking place on about 25 kilometers of the corridor, spread across sections in the Rironi, Gilgil, Kariandusi, and Mau Summit. The government site visits show heavy machinery, cleared road reserves, and early earthworks. These are not imaginary developments, they are visible and real. But progress in infrastructure is measured not only by isolated work sites, but by continuity, scale, and pace. For most motorists using this corridor daily, the experience remains largely unchanged, although we are in the early stages of this construction phase. Traffic bottlenecks still persist, diversions are limited, and the existing single carriageway still carries the burden of the vehicles. There is no regularly published independent progress report indicating how much of the project has been completed, what milestones have been achieved, or how current activity aligns with the overall construction schedule. In project management terms, that absence of transparent reporting makes it difficult to verify whether the project is advancing as a coordinated build or as a series of symbolic starts. The questions become sharper when contracting journey is examined. Officially, the Rironi Mau Summit Road is being delivered through a public-private partnership, a model where private investors finances, builds and operates the road, then recovers costs through tolls over a long concession period, and in this case, it's 30 years. Under Kenya law, such projects must go through a structured process involving the Public-Private Partnership Directorate, Kenya National Highway Authority, and Public-Private Partnership Committee. What is not publicly available, however, is a signed concession agreement or final contract award document. Kenya National Highway Authority has stated that three entities emerged as preferred proponents: China Road and Bridge Corporation, working with National Social Security Fund and SSF, Shandong High Speed Road and Bridge International, and Complex Partners. Crucially, Kenya has also clarified that what has been granted so far is approval to proceed with the negotiations, not confirmation that a binding contracts have been concluded. This distinction matters. Negotiations approval allows preparatory actions such as mobilization, surveys, and limited works, but it does not carry the same legal certainty as a signed and gazetted contract. Yet, the project was publicly launched at the highest political level, creating the impression that all contractual and financial questions have been settled. From an accountability standpoint, the lack of publicly accessible contract details raises legitimate questions. When exactly were contracts signed, under what terms, and where can the public verify them? The presence of three major contractors is not accidental. Earlier attempts to structure the project reportedly stalled. including engagement with European firms, largely due to financing limits and risk exposure. The Rironi Mau Summit Highway is a capital intensive, running into hundreds of billions of shillings over its life cycle. The PPPs of this scale require contractors who can raise long-term financing, absorb construction risk, and wait years to recover their investment. That financial reality explains why large multinational firms, particularly those with access to state-backed credit, dominate such projects, with local firms remain largely absent from the lead roles. In practical terms, the project involves expanding the existing road into dual carriageway with 4 lanes in some sections and 6 in others, new interchanges to separate through traffic from local traffic, and safety features designed to reduce accidents. The government argues that this will cut travel time, lower vehicle operating cost, and improve regional trade efficiency. These benefits are plausible and consistent with similar projects elsewhere, but there is no publicly released independent cost-benefit analysis available for scrutiny. The financing model is where opinions sharply diverge. Supporters of the PPP approach say it allows Kenya to build critical infrastructure without immediate strain on national debt or national budget, shifting construction and maintenance risk to private investors. They argue that tolling is a fair trade-off for improved service and faster delivery. Opponents see it differently. They point to the long concession period, the confidentiality of the contracts, and the likelihood that tolls on such a vital corridor will raise transport costs across the economy. Their concern is not abstract. It is rooted in the fear that the public will eventually or ultimately bear the financial risk if traffic projections fall short or if contract terms prove unfavorable. As it stands, the Rironi Nakuru Mau Summit Highway, this project occupies an uncomfortable middle ground. There is activity on the ground, but limited clarity on the scale and timing. There is a declared PPP structure, but incomplete public disclosure of its core agreement. There are promises of transformation, but everyday road users see little or immediate change, although we are in the preliminary construction period. Major infrastructure projects are not judged by launch ceremony or site visit. They are judged by transparent contracts, measurable progress, and outcomes that match what was promised. Until those elements are visible and verifiable, questions about whether this project is moving decisively forward or being managed as a communication exercise will continue to follow it, and rightly so. So thank you for reaching this far. If it's your first time here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Also hit the notification bell so that whenever we do a video, you are among the first people to be notified. Thank you.